Wanted to introduce Art Reinhardt with Bear County. Day 86 in 14 minutes, I think. For Art, Art hired me at the city of San Antonio many moons ago. I think he's in his memoirs. He's going to say that I was his favorite direct report. Our only disagreement is over college choice. Yeah, I think everybody here pretty much knows Art, but if you don't know Art, he's about as hard worker as there is. He's crazy enough to get back into the public side, and he's going to do wonders at Bear County. Truly good that. So with that, I'll turn it over to Art and let him do his thing.
All right. Thank you all so much. So as Jake mentioned, we worked together in the past. So just a little bit about me. I've got a little over 20 years of experience. I went to University in Texas. That's not the one. That's the one. And started off in Houston with it was TCB, but AECOM, doing development work, and then moved here right when we had our first kid. Got two boys. One of them just started driving a couple weeks ago, so watch out. So I've been in the San Antonio area for 16 years, so pretty familiar with most of y'all. I'm not that familiar with the organization though, so I'm excited to be here and learn more about it. Been involved in ACBC over the years in various capacities, but excited to be here. So with that said, I think my 3 months will be next week, so we're pretty close on 86 days. So, but yeah, thank y'all for having me. So just a little bit, I'm going to talk a little bit about the department. I think most of y'all are familiar with what we do, but I want to cover that. Talk about some of our projects going on and then upcoming opportunities, and then kind of moving forward my grand plan. So what we do, so we are the department in the county that maintains and builds the horizontal infrastructure. So we do have a separate department that does vertical, that's our facilities department. I think many years ago that was all part of infrastructure services, but over the years it's been broken out. So we have over 1,600 miles of roads in our network, over 400 bridges, you can see the stats there. 70 traffic signals, so that's not very many. City of San Antonio has 1,400, so put that in perspective. So it's we're seeing more and more though, and so it's great to be at the forefront of trying to get everything set right. So annually, right now we maintain about 100 miles of roads, strike about 200 miles of roads, and over 50,000 fleet maintenance repairs. So that's one thing that's unique about Bexar County Public Works is our fleet infrastructure, or fleet management is within Public Works, and so we have over 1,500 vehicles that we maintain. So that's not only our fleet, but it's also sheriff vehicles, etc. So it's exciting. I'm a car person, so it's cool to see that going on. So where we do it. So Bear County, about 1,200 square miles. So the shading doesn't show up good, but it looks like the kind of white areas around. You can see the red in the middle. The city of San Antonio, it's about a little over 500 square miles. So between the city and the suburban cities, there's around 20 of those. Alma Heights, almost part of those. They make up about half of the county's limits, but we operate in the fringe of society that are around the counties. Major areas, so I think most of y'all are familiar with Dave Wegman's group, so that's where all of our engineering and construction is. As of March 1st, he's our assistant county engineer, so he's been with the county for quite a while now. We have all of our transportation projects, flood control projects, RMA projects, construction administration. I know most of y'all are familiar with Mr. Brandon. It's been in the county for a while. We also have our development services group, so all the development, so at the city it's a separate department, all of that's within Public Works. And so that's probably where I would say I've spent maybe 70% of my time just trying to help out there. It's one of the biggest challenges right now, it's just all the growth. I think it's also one of the biggest opportunities, so I'm definitely excited about that too. But that's where we review all of our development permitting, also our stormwater quality permitting and floodplain management is part of that group. And then we have our operational services. That's our traditional street drainage maintenance. Our fleet is within that group, as well as our traffic. That's headed by Tony Boston. We also operate the RMA, so that's the Regional Mobility Authority. So those were created back in 2001 through legislation. The Alma RMA, which is here in Bexar County, was created in 2003. Over the years, there's been a couple of different legislative actions modifying the RMA, but in 2013 is when Bexar County took it over. So we operate that. So Reggie Fountain, not only does he help manage capital projects, he also is our manager for our we have board meetings monthly, and it's a 7-member board appointed by Commissioners Court. So it's totally separate from the court. The head of that is appointed by the governor. 2013, when the RMA was taken over by Bear County, that's also when a $10 vehicle registration fee was enacted. So that's how we're funded. And annually, that's about $16 million. So that goes to our revenue to build future projects. And 2015 is when the court adopted a 10-year plan, about $200 million worth of projects, which the intent is not to show you all the projects, but there were about 10 projects throughout the county. We have one of those still in construction. The other ones are complete. That's the West Military Drive project on the far west side of town. And we also used that money to leverage some TxDOT money. So altogether, the $200 million of investment leveraged about $275 million. Like I said, we do have one active project. Other projects we have ongoing, so currently we have about 29 projects totaling roughly $260 million. So we have 700 in construction and then 22 that are in design or in planning aspects. So that's countywide. See the breakdown here. The bulk of those are transportation, about 18 projects totaling about 200 million are transportation. Then we have flood control projects. A couple of those are within the city limits. We just kicked off the one in construction that's on the 18th Frost Center drainage and stabilization project. That's there between Frost Center and the rodeo. We're redoing the portion of Maynard Creek that goes through there. Got to be done by the next year, so that's a tough time constraint. And then we do have the one RMA project. Over the next 12 years, 12 months, we'll be pumping out close to $80 million of work. So excited about that. So if you want to take a picture, you can, but we have this on the website too, so that's one of the main things. So upcoming CEI opportunities. So traditionally for our construction engineering, we'll do that both in-house and with consultant support. So for our local projects or more straightforward, we'll go with our in-house. But if they're federalized projects or if they're complex, we'll usually partner with a consulting partner to help. So we have the top two are both MPO funded. One is the Blanco Road Phase 3 project. That one's a sore spot to me because in my prior role, we pursued it as a consultant and I came up razor thin short. I don't think I've seen anyone from STV, but they beat us on that one. So anyway, that one, we should be having the RFQ out maybe this time next year for that. So that's the last phase of Blanco Road all the way up to the county line. We also have our Grossenbacher Road north, again, that's MPO funded. And that's really kind of on the southwest part of town. The date for the RFQ is lagging about a year behind the MPO one. And then Tally Phase 3, that's kind of new for us. We've done, Tally Phase 1 is complete, Phase 2 is going to be starting construction. We just awarded the CEI contract at court this week. But Phase 3 is the last piece of there from Tamaron Pass north to Culegra. We have a 10-year plan, and that's actually in the outer years. There's a development coming through, and they'll build part of that. So we wanted to accelerate that and partner with the developer. So that one, the time is not quite set in stone, so it could move a little bit, but I wanted to conclude on it about it. So that's also out in 2026. So moving forward, I just wanted to talk a little bit about kind of, I mean, close to 3 months in, kind of where we want to go. But I will say that I was pretty proud of my 90-day plan. I'm not a graphics designer, but I did put that together, painted it on my interviews. I actually still have it in here and I carry it around. But as the great philosopher, some of y'all heard this.
Could you stand a little bit that way? There you go, thank you.
But as the great philosopher Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And so there's still a lot of stuff on there that I haven't done yet, and probably won't get to by next Tuesday. But that doesn't mean I'm not trying. So. But really, my goal is simply just to try to be the best at what we do. The county, as y'all know, y'all worked with the county over the years. It's a great team to work with. The folks there are solid, fair fees, and don't ask a whole lot. But I felt like it's been a lower profile, and I want us to be viewed as one of the best. That's where I want to go. So as long as we're striving to be that way, I think we'll be good. But how you get there is operating with our core values, guiding principles, just kind of keeping everyone in check on that. Also, just a sense of urgency. So I know talking with Mike over the years, everything we do is about safety. You think about it, what we do, right? So whether it's filling a pothole or trying to solve a massive flooding issue. So just making sure that we don't put things off for tomorrow that we can try to do today. Also, one of the things that I'm real big on is transparency in the sense, not that we're doing things that we shouldn't be, but just making information more available. A couple examples, they're nothing earth-shattering, but CEI opportunities that just showed, those are on our website now. So we wouldn't traditionally have that. One of the big takeaways coming back from the consultant side is just trying to stay ahead of opportunities. I really appreciate what TxDOT does and publish their the projected contracts list. We don't have near the volume of that, but we are putting on our website now upcoming opportunities. So you'll see the 2 CEI opportunities. Tally's not on there yet, just because it's a little uncertain still. But there's also 2 other ones on there as well. And again, it's just so that y'all know it. I know folks talk with our team a lot, so they know it, but I want to make sure everyone knows. Also, I think we could help to some extent with small businesses as well, because they can't always have a unique person to come. So that's one little thing. Just trying to bring more information on our website. It's our front door to our department. There's a lot of stuff that was outdated. We talked about infrastructure services that hasn't been around for 20 years, I think. So some of that's already been updated. One of the things I'm working on right now is, I mentioned, the development side. So we have this great internal system through Cartograph as a software where we track everything, not only our assets, but also development. And we have, internally, we have all of the plats that are under review, ones that have been recorded, et cetera. And I want to take that and put it out to the public so that our commissioners know what's coming, the community knows what's coming, little things like that. So I think in time, as we're adding more, that'll help us get there. I also know we need to invest in ourselves. So it's tough in the public sector. You know, we're not competitive with the private sector, but we want to make sure that we're competitive with our peers. And so looking at that and making sure that we're fine-tuned there. One of the little things we're working on is our job description. So the city has a great program that Mike put in place with our engineers, where there's a base level engineer, there's a senior engineer, and there's other levels. Well, in the county, it's just one level. So we're looking at job descriptions to see if there's a way to change that so there's more progression over time. Then the last 2 are big ones. I want to have a strong partnership with our development community. One of the things I'm most excited about in the county is when I was at the city, I felt like we were always chasing past development and trying to retrofit. We celebrated our tricentennial in 2018. There's a lot of old infrastructure. In the county, that's where all the development is happening now. I'm trying to be ahead of that and do it in a way that makes sense for not just now, but that's going to be the urban areas in the future. And so trying to have that partnership is what I'm huge on. And then also just doing more. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but traditionally we haven't pursued a lot of other people's money, federal funding. And I want to do that. It's tough, it's painful projects, but it's also opportunities to do more. So just really trying to get our brand out there. So with that, I'm going to take some questions. Go from there.
I've got a couple for you. Historically, the development services process, I know private sector projects, and there are owners and consultants that complain about the county process and slow and so forth. How are you seeing that? I know you probably staffing and so forth, but how's that going?
It's so one of the things we rolled out. So we meet bi-monthly with the development community. It's the Development Processes Task Force. First meeting I sat in was my first meeting, and we had our April meeting. But one of the things we tweaked is our performance measures, just to make it. I couldn't understand them, the ones that we had before. And I felt like if I can't understand it, then well, we all know how smart I am, but there's other people that may not be able to, right? So just trying to track ourselves and understand what we're doing. But I will say the team is working very hard. Overtime, they don't get compensated for it, but they're there a lot. And some of that is because we are understaffed. Some of that is because maybe our process isn't quite clear. So trying to sort that out, and just making sure that we're not creating more work for ourselves and not trying to solve problems that maybe don't need to be solved. So, like I said, that's where I've probably spent 75% of my time just trying to help out and unclog things. Because the sheer volume, the team hasn't grown in size over the years, but development is happening tremendously in the county.
Yeah, the other one was, just maybe some tips. We've got folks here that are interested in CEI work, but also some that are interested in design work. For your all's process for selection. Could you talk through that a little bit?
Yeah, so I would say if you haven't met with us, definitely get on our radar because I'm having submitted to the county before and coming up short, it's a very tight process. The debriefs that you get are very helpful. The county team will tell you exactly what they're looking for in the proposals. We submitted, and like I said, we came up real short, but we were able to win a traffic on call. This was in my pastoral on WSP because of that feedback. So definitely, if you haven't, reach out to me or Dave Whiteman, and we can schedule a meeting to talk through like what we look for. But big things are just cost efficiency, looking for those opportunities on how you were able to save the county money in your past projects, and then just quality control. That's always a big thing. Understanding how are you going to check it? Everyone says they do quality control. I know that we have standard language we put in all our proposals, but show us how you're doing that. So, but the biggest takeaway would be just to get on the radar and talk to us so we can tell you what we're looking for.
Good. Oh, go ahead.
You at the end you mentioned about alternative funding methods, or has the county ever done like a local government project through the TechStat funding?
Yeah, so the MPO projects, so we've got 2 of those ongoing. So those follow that local government process where we'll through the MPO and we'll enter into advanced funding agreement with TechStat and then manage it that way. Very similar to this.
Oh, okay. So you have been.
Yeah.
Okay.
We haven't really pursued federal funds. So we did get a grant. I helped write it on my past role through the Safe Streets for All program. So that eventually, once we get it going, we're in the contracting phase, but that will be looking at a countywide safety, traffic safety plan. So hopefully we'll identify hotspots, and then that can help us in the future. And I didn't touch on it, but one thing that I do to on that point is our list of future projects right now. Annually, the team review and talk about needs, and I really want to try to kind of take that up a level. And we don't really have a scoring system. It was more of just kind of what the team knows, and they have great experience, but just kind of creating a 0 to 100 scale, and then assigning different criteria, looking at things like equity, and making sure that we're solid there, so that once we know when the funding opportunities are, we've got projects here that we can try to submit.
Quick question. So, what does the county have as far as wanting CCMs to actually come do work with the certified construction managers, and are they promoting that field kind of more within the county now, or?
So I'm not as familiar with the program there, but
Okay.
I mean, outside of our CEI practice, that's really the extent of what we're doing. There might be on the vertical side opportunities for that for our facilities department, but not as much on the horizontal side.
Okay.
Related to
So with all the roads on the outskirts, are y'all partnering with like CPS or SAWS to talk about future road for them so they can plan ahead?
Yeah, so CPS, I'm still trying to understand the CPS deal. We don't do streetlights in the county. Like really, outside of a single intersection or maybe some other traffic safety area, we don't have illuminations. And that goes back to the agreements, the lack of agreements between county and CPS. So we are piloting. That doesn't answer your question, but we are piloting solar. There's a couple communities in Precinct 4 that Commissioner Calvert set aside funding for. So I'm still trying to unpack why that seems like a big safety issue. It's about money, to just allocate money to do it. But SAWS, outside of our joint bid projects and then whatever happens through development, I haven't seen much. We have an interlocal with them that's really geared towards the traditional, we'll give a joint project, they'll bring the pave, and then do some development side of it. John.
Mark, could you describe the
For
county's
CPS 10 years, never figured them out either.
appetite for future alternative delivery methods, CMAR, progressive design build, vice traditional design build?
and some of y'all will probably know this. Okay, so I don't know when the new guy thing cuts off, but for sure I can do it until next week because that's the first 3 months. But some of y'all will probably know the more history on this. But I don't know that the county's done much alternative delivery, if any, on the horizontal side. You know, the project the drainage project I mentioned, the Frost Center one, that may have been a good one because we had a very tight window. We had to start it after the rodeo and finish it by the next rodeo, so that may have been one we considered. I know at the city, under Mike's leadership, started looking at that. Houseman Road is a big one. We've done a couple. The city's done a couple, but we haven't traditionally been there, so that's something I want to dig into the project business. The Tally Phase 3 one is more of a developer partnership. We've done that where, in that case, the developer's going to design a full corridor and they're building 2 sections and they're going to build other sections, but it'll still be your traditional road bid.
Thanks.
The evaluation process for license qualification, and I applaud the county's desire to get the best bang for their buck. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I think it's very hard to overcome that criteria in evaluation if you have never primed a county project because you don't have an opportunity to show savings in a county project. I know some firms have attempted to show it in other projects, but I often feel like it's getting discarded because it wasn't a county project. And that eliminates a lot of small businesses, new firms that are coming into the area. But all I do is ask you to look at that and make sure that there is an equity there that allows that to be evaluated on an apples to apples versus an apples to oranges.
Yeah, and I think I hear you. You know, some of that maybe challenge you on a little bit, but like I go back to my previous role. I mentioned Blanco. That we didn't. The firm at the time, we didn't have any county experience, and we were there, right there. It was like less than 1 point. But the examples we showed were from similar projects. In this case, that was federally funded, so there were a lot of projects we could show. And I think that, in talking with the county at the time, they understood that, and they were looking for that relevant experience. I will say, so just at court, Landstar got their first county project, CPI for Tally Phase 3, so it's exciting. And then we had recommendations go for 3 design projects for low water crossings. One of those was Flood Ace. They've done some sub-consult work, but that'll be their first time project. So I think it goes back to, I'm not trying to discredit your point, Joe. Come talk to us and we can talk through that and kind of get that history.
Well, I'm not,
it is.
I just want to make sure that that's on top of your mind to make sure that there's opportunities like that for everyone.
And even on the consultant side, I mean, again, pastoral, on our go-no-go calls, you're trying to explain to people higher up why you need to pursue it. And one of the questions, have you ever done work for them? And you're like, no. And you're like, well, why? But then just talk about the relationship. If you know some of these are coming in a year from now at that time.
Oh. Yeah, I know there's a leak out about the downtown arena. I know some 20 plus years ago, the county saved the team actually by stepping in and playing their part. And I know it's a lot of hush, about what's going on, but it has been leaked out. Is that something the county will play a role in? And if so, what do you think they'll be at?
I'm just
Leak it out.
It's just us.
You want me to turn it off?
I'm going vertical now. We got horizontal.
Y'all will probably hear well before me. I hear the same thing you hear, but I don't know anything more other than there's conversations, but I don't know.
Are you sticking with that story?
Till Tuesday.
If I can't say it in front of KSAT, I'm not going to say it in front of y'all.
Hey, Art, I'm curious, is there any plans to ramp up the flood control program again?
Yeah. So what Jake's referring to is back in 2007, I got to work on it in my AECOM days, but there was a 10-year flood control program, 500 million. So that ended a few years back. So there's been no discussion about anything new like that. What the county did do is 2021, court adopted a 10-year CIP, and that was $620 million. We're in year 3 of that. About half of that streets and drainage, the other half's creeks, trails, and then facilities. So that's kind of what the court's looking at right now. You know, annually the funds get set aside for that, but that would be what we have right now. Once that's done, then perhaps there could be something, but no discussions right now about something more like that where we'd have a program manager.
And one final follow-up question is kind of just general, but you know, you've been back in Seattle about 3 months now, and I know you've got your plans on what you want to do. What do you see as the biggest risk as far as whether or not the county, how you see the success with the county? What's the biggest risk that would keep that from happening, and then how can we as a community of consultants help?
Yeah, I think, again, going back to what excites me about the county is the opportunity to be at the forefront of infrastructure, right? So governments traditionally don't build new infrastructure. We'll maintain it, we'll increase capacity, but brand new roads, that's on our development partners. And being there with them, trying to do it how we think it needs to be done. Not that it's right, wrong, or different, but on the development side, or even just as a consultant, you don't see the same challenges that you see on the owner side. And it's little things like cut through traffic. My first month, it seems like every month I've hit a community meeting, and I've got one tonight actually. Again, you know, I'll be it'll be a hot seat, but whatever. It's, you know, little things like, gosh, if we could have maybe put this road here instead of there, you know, that would have solved some problems. So just trying to be there and understand, and then in time will only tell if we're successful, right? But just trying to plan it out, because this is our opportunity. These areas that are rural now, you know, in 20 years, they're not going to be. That's the vision. Is don't build it for today. Let's think ahead and think what type of infrastructure that they may need in the future.
All right, what's the, you know, with the judge and the commissioners, you know, what are the politics like from your experience compared to city gate? Anything you want to share about that?
So far, you know, coming into it, I heard, you know, more political things like that, but so far everyone's been nice to me. But, one of the things I feel like is there's 4 commissioners and 1 judge versus 10 council members and mayor. You know, there's discussion, like, you know, all about it, the term limits, things like that for council. I think that will help. But with the county, it's 4-year terms, so there's stability. So that's been good. One of the things I'm really trying to understand now is county government. So it's not the same as city government. You know, cities can make up their own rules, right? If they're having a problem, pass an ordinance, solve the problem. There's a lot of effort that goes into that, but at the county we can't do that. If I can't point to state statute, whatever, I can't do it. So that's trying to understand that and see what tools we have. You know, sometimes the statute will say develop a program to do whatever, and so then we have some liberty to make it happen. But so working through some of that has been interesting. Jimmy had it.
On a lighter, non-technical topic, your predecessor used to always talk about the most phone calls she got was, is animal control still in your purview?
It's not. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You got rid of it.
Well, she got rid of it. That's under our environmental services. And I'll say, you know, I've talked about trying to get better and things like that. It's hard to talk about because I had great respect for the team that I have and those that came before, so there's no criticism there. It's just trying to think. Yeah.
How about relationships with other government organizations, TxDOT, city?
Yeah. You know, just from my past, I feel like as a staff level, solid relationships with all the agencies. I know the political level, there's clashes sometimes. People have different needs and desires, so that will always be there. But you know, just reaching out to whether it's City of San Antonio or TxDOT, we have that partnership. One of the things I'm trying to do, we had it kind of at the city, but create like an urban counties peer group. So just informal, monthly, bi-monthly, whatever it is you call. So I had reached out. Fortunately, I know a lot of folks in Harris County that came from here, but also Dallas, Karen, Travis. Just trying to set that up just to have a partner group and build that. And it goes back to trying to be viewed as a leader in the industry and building that. Just one of the things I really liked. My only private consulting experience has been with, it's been half my career, but it's been with 2 big firms. And just having that network where you can internally ask a question and you start getting pinged from New Zealand or Canada or wherever. And so that's kind of what I want to try to have, at least in the county role. Maybe not from New Zealand, but.
All right, last one for me. The small business program, CMAA is a great mix of large companies, small companies. And so what's the latest? Yeah, I know there was a move forward to more of a mandatory program and then pull back a little bit. What's the latest?
So there's been efforts over the years, and they've been stalled for various reasons. My understanding is the latest effort isn't going to move forward because the data, I think you have to have disparity studies every 5 years, and so the data that was used for that one has since expired. So no changes there, at least for now. What court did approve on Tuesday is and I'm still trying to unpack exactly how it's going to work, but and it's just they approved the next step is to negotiate with the selected vendor, but a kind of broker assistance and bonding assistance and training program, so that when we have contractors come in and they can't quite maybe get to the bonding capacity that they need to be able to bid on a project, there's help they can get. The selected vendor has done this. They're out of California. They've done it. They're one of the industry leaders. And one of the things that jumped out to me is when I read the proposal was they've had a less than 1% default rate, which seemed kind of, going into it seems scary because if you fail on the bonding, now all of a sudden the county's on the hook. But in theirs, I think out of it was like 1,800 jobs they've helped people with, only 2 of them failed. So that's kind of the route we're going right now, at least on the construction side, to help. Again, what I learned reading that proposal, 2 big barriers for small business. That's access to capital to get the bonding, and then prompt payment. And so also what this will look at as a third party that can help pay sub-consultants, things like that, because as a contractor's coming in, they're having, they're doing work and then they have to float that cost until they get paid. So trying to help with that. So I'll be learning along with y'all how that's going to work. But on the consultant side, no changes there. I did, one of the things coming into this role, I knew there was a desire to have more small business opportunity. So little things like trying to bring more awareness to our opportunities will help. But I asked Whitman, it was about a month ago, just as a gut check, I wanted to know where we're at. I said, can you pull all the consultant selections over the last 5 years? And I just wanted to see, how many were large firms or small firms. And this is just pure consultants and not contracting. We had, I think, 35 RFQs that he gave me. And I looked at it both from a dollar amount and a numbers amount. And about 30% went to the small firm as a prime, both dollar and number. So obviously we want to get better, but I didn't feel like that was a super low number. So, and that didn't include any sub-consultant dollars that went to small firms. Didn't include final contract amounts. That was just kind of what was advertised. So that's kind of where we're at. Just big picture is about 30%.
All right, I overheard you say that you're not that familiar with CMAA, and my question is how can we get you more engaged and understand? I thank John for his question about CCM. With my CMAA hat on, I think it would be good for us to sit down with you and kind of give you an overview of who we are and what we do, and how this organization historically over the last many years nationally has been a mainstay in the public.
I know.
Hopefully we'll do that and get a chance to.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's set up like this. Before I came back to the county, I was on the board at ACEC. We had different committees. I was chair of transportation. There was a county committee. I don't know if y'all have different, but whatever, I'm happy to, whether it's bi-monthly or quarterly, whoever's leading the organization, we can come talk, whatever, work through anything. So I think that'd be the best way, is just to have a recurring sit down.
I also think we have such a huge reach.
Yeah.
As a national organization, it's not just contained in this local chapter here in Missouri, and that we can be a tremendous resource for you and help you on the program side, program project management side. CDI is great. There's still a lot of other components that we could be a resource and help you. If it's in development of a specification, certain guidelines that you need to help the small business side, so a lot of these smaller firms are part of our so we can help be a resource for you, help you develop programs through our national connection.
About how many firms are part of the local chapter here, roughly? I know ACEC is about 100.
Everybody's looking at John. Our numbers were,
Never lot.
400 or 500 locally,
Okay.
including private, including owners, public owners, but member-wise.
I send out on a monthly basis for these meetings, I send out almost 2,000 emails. So not, they're not all active or whatever, but
But that also covers from Austin.
correct. We have a huge area for us, so.
Paul is national board member for a lot of years.
Yeah, I was for quite a few years.
But one of the biggest things like a lot of people don't understand is when they think construction management, don't realize that it starts from conception and goes through design and through construction all the way to the end. So we try to get involved at conception and then help, the owner or whatever, make it through properly through different connections and get good designs and so.
Even through training,
Mm-hmm.
we have young engineers and what have you come to work in the county. We've got several great training programs that can help build them to be a strong asset for you and a good resource.
That might be something, one of the things that worries me a little bit right now is the leadership team's they're getting ready.
Yeah, sure.
They were going to retire before I got there. It's not like I'm dragging them out. Just right. But yeah, so Mr. B's got, his days are numbered, right? So yeah, as we get new folks in, maybe that's something that needs to get some control.
Something that might be in the city and actually you serve. Yeah, okay. And he brought on, city staff came to the meeting, so being involved, you're gonna learn first time, second involved. We'll have that interaction and talk about stuff.
That's a good idea. Your staff might be interested in part of CMAA.
Jim may not. I just know him well enough.
I think he likes bacon. So.
Well, but he doesn't like coming in this early in the morning.
What's up?
That's a good point there that we don't have a hard time finding owners to come speak, but we do have a hard time finding owners to have their teams involved throughout.
Okay.
And you can see, the groups in the room. It's another way to get involved with pretty much all the faces, all the firms. And so we do have some owners that do show up there and participate. More than
So an open free spot for the county?
What's that?
An open free spot for the county?
Maybe. I don't see any Fiesta medals.
we have big.
Yeah.
So. All right,
And I just say way too much.
Art's got to recoup before he gets assaulted at the public meeting.
That doesn't start till 6:30.
That's how you get taken out. All right, appreciate everybody being here. I think we covered the news. Do you have anything, John?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention about the CMAA training coming up. It's designed basically for us who are already out there in the field working, have the experience, have the requirements to take the exam. It kind of preps you for the exam. It builds you up, getting ready to take the exam. And there's different ways of getting it through CMAA. and we just wanted a personal touch to teach it in person and to kind of get the area of San Antonio together and let's do a course and help some of these people actually get their certifications for that. And then also, I remember my boss told me he took this thing a couple of years ago and he paid $1,200 for it. So it's a pretty good deal to me. 600 for members, 800 for non-members. So I talked to another firm the other day and they're already promised me 3 coming from them. So it's a good way to get everybody in and get them together to start.